Now, as I look at it, I go, White Mage is my healer. Will Scholar bring me back? Will Summoner bring me back?
Hopefully.
I don't know, man. Sage looks pretty freaking cool.
It does. That's one of the things as well, isn't it? Like the poster boy of any new job is always going to be over glamorized and overdone in the first thing. We knew that. It's done deliberately to sell it. Like, go and try out our 2 new jobs, but they sometimes a little bit more flashy than the rest. But I'm starting to think that that's not going to be quite as much of an issue. And I have firm belief that Yoshi P, when he said that every job is going to have something as flashy and as identity attractive as Passage of Arms, that was enough for me. I'm paraphrasing there. He said something akin to that. I was like, well, if everyone's having something like that, then that could be enough to keep people attracted to that. Because your first impressions of something aren't necessarily if it's any good, but if it looks complete crap and this guy's going around with laser beams shielding people and putting barriers up and nuking things with rapid fire laser beams, it's like, well, I've got a staff. I'm helping. Just like, I got a cool staff.
Now,
cure.
Now with the 17th, that kind of kicks off this mad dash, 2-month road to Endwalker. What are your plans for content? Have you thought that all the way through yet? What's your do you have any in-game goals that you have yet to achieve? Like overall, what does the next 2 months look like for you?
Stream content's easy because I've got a massive list of things that I want to complete and things I've still that I have completed so far. I mean, I've done all 17 resistance weapons. I did my second Heavensward relic, my second Realm Reborn relic. I've got plans to do another 2 Heavensward relics I want to work on. I want to get all of the Guiba mounts. I'm missing 3 of those. I still need Seat of Sacrifice, Diamond, and Emerald, because for some reason I can't get that dragon to drop in either of those 3 places. It's impossible. There's just endless amounts of things. I want to give Heaven on High a go. I've never been to the top of that, like yourself. That's a big thing to try. In terms of content, on YouTube, it's mostly me going to be covering any news and probably new player guides, because I think now is the perfect time to put down everything else and be like, actually, let's help people out. And some of the questions I get asked on the stream, I'm like, I'll make a video. It's easier. And that's usually what I do. I'm like, look, I've explained it to you, but I know that this is hard for me to explain. Let me just show you, and then I'll make a video. So that's the sort of content I've been focusing on and will be focusing on to fill the gaps. But I think whilst we had a bit of a lull in any kind of information, now is just going to be there's going to be so much, probably too much. I don't think there's going to be a single stop after this point.
What about you, Chris, man?
I mean, I had a list of things I wanted to do this expansion. That list has grown and shrunk over time. It's been a living document. At this point, like, get my armory cleared, the rings and primary weapons, that'll be sorted out by another 15 slots. Is going to make a big difference there. But the other slots, just getting those really clean so that I can have leveling gear sit in there and not have to worry about it, has been kind of a goal. So getting all my melees to at least 50. So there's just a couple of poetic sets in there. Finishing out Fizz ranged. I'm almost done with casters. And so getting those leveled up is a big one. I want to clear E12S. I'd love to try an ultimate. Just so I'm going in the next expansion more well-rounded as a player. I have, going into this expansion, I have more lore knowledge than I have ever before. I have more jobs than ever before. I've done more of the content than ever before, but I would like to just be broader, because Endwalker is the finale. Like, this is our big moment. So being able to take in as much of the game as possible, like, this is that moment. And then having a baseline so that when we get to 6.1 and the game doesn't end and it's, starts with a new story, I have a leaping off point in whatever storytelling devices they give us. Because, like, to build a new story, hopefully everything kind of clues us in on that. And it's not just the MSQ quests and then you're just asking questions. So hopefully, Island Sanctuary is telling us a piece of that story. And if there is another Deep Dungeon update, it's telling us a piece of that story. And so hopefully each piece of content can kind of give us some insight in building this new narrative, however new it ends up being. So I think I just want to be kind of as prepared as possible. The community, like the amount of events going on, this Rich Cobb thing really reminded me, like, it doesn't even have to be from Square Enix. It's not new content. It wasn't an event they organized or even said promoted. And it just kind of happened. So it's just been an exciting time to be in the community. As a viewer, I've been watching more streams than ever. And on this side of things. So like, I'm just excited. The key is just managing burnout and making sure that you're taking days off and you're taking breaks and reminding yourself that like nothing's really getting deleted. So if you don't finish something up in time, like you were saying, we need to go finish Baldese and Arsenal because Brian and I both didn't do that. Well, I'm in a Deliverum Savage group every Sunday right now. And once I get that Savage clear, I'd love to go work on Baldese and Arsenal. But if I don't get to that before Endwalker, I don't think interest in Ozma is going to just hard drop off a cliff. I think it'll come back as people get settled into Endwalker, and I'll have a chance to clear it then too.
It's interesting. It's interesting how waves of content and focus end up happening. And I think with more people streaming, we've always called for more content creators, helps put more things that the game does offer in front of people's faces and allows them to have those individual like challenges. What do you think, Meoni?
I think that the more people there are, the better just across the board, the more access we have to things is, Baldesi and Arsenal isn't going anywhere. It's just more of a fact that at the moment there are a lot of people who are like, actually, I wouldn't mind getting that mount before that. And because a lot of other people are setting that goal, it might be a good opportunity to hit that within the next couple of months. There'll probably be a lot less people running Baldesi and Arsenal in those sorts of setup groups because they'll be focusing on trying to do their raiding, their Savage, their whatever they plan to do. But yeah, there'll always be people up for Eureka, and as the more people, the better. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's always growing now.
Now, Patrick's reminding me that I need to answer my own question that I asked to you guys about my goals for Endwalker. First and foremost, been working with Todd on Savage. So we got E9S down. We've gotten to Void Gate 2 on E10S. Kind of tripped me up a little bit. And honestly, I'm going to keep working with them on those Savage raids and maybe even step in and dip a toe into Ultimate. But really the focus right now is more on like Heaven on High and that kind of content. So that's kind of where that falls. But from just a time and volume perspective, New World drops on the 28th. I've been following that game for 18 months. I'm very excited about that game. For me, it reminds me of Final Fantasy XI, but like just leveled up to a whole nother degree. And so I'm very excited to see what Amazon does with that. And I wish them the best when it comes to that. And then we got, like from a burnout perspective, it's to get to Endwalker and be excited to play 14 and not get to Endwalker and going like, man, okay, here we go, again. But I've got everything leveled. So I'm like, honestly, I'm just ready to rock and roll. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm going to make content, going to play video games, going to hang out with the community and stepping back, not from a content creator perspective, but stepping back into Destiny 2, playing with the community as well. So it's been really nice now that things are kind of getting back to normal and kids are sleeping through the night, that it's like, okay, yeah, I might hang out and play some video games with people. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the streams and the content. So hopefully that answers your question, Patrick, in that regards. Now, that does bring us to the final part of the show itself. I do have a special post-show question that I've been liking, and I plan to ask Meoni if they're able to stick around. So if you guys are watching live, you get to hang out for that. If you're watching or listening to this in MP3, you got to go check out YouTube for the special pre and post-show posts that go up later after the podcast are done. But Meoni, I'd like to give it to you, man. Like, floor's yours. Like, is there anything that you want to like touch on that we haven't talked about? Is there anything that you're excited about that we focus more on healers, etc.? Floor and show are yours.
Okay. Well, in terms of the live letter, I think that's just going to be the first big tip of information, but it's going to be very heavy on the amount of class changes and things like that. So people expecting answers to stuff like what is Island Sanctuary and footage of that. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you're not going to get that, I don't think, this time around. But you will probably get that sort of stuff answered as we go forward. We do have, as Brian said, a media tour at some point in the future that we can't obviously talk about. But I'm sure a lot of those questions will be answered then. They'll be sure to have special sites and video footage and trailers and things like that. It's about to hot off. People are about to really understand those other parts of the game. But I think for the most part, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank all of the new players and all of the people who are watching, because without all of the new faces, I don't think the community would be as responsive as it has been recently and as positive. I think a lot of people have literally opened their arms and just come forward and gone, you know what, I'm going to give this game a go, and I'm going to open my arms to it. And I've never seen that before. A lot of the time people try out Final Fantasy XIV, they come across from WoW in the past, and they've been like, this is boring or whatever, but they've really opened up to this. So there's many reasons why they would come over from another game, but I welcome each and every one of them. I think it's not only really good, obviously, for viewership, but also hopefully people like myself and Brian and Chris here have been able to make as many of you newcomers feel welcome, and there are no stupid questions. So I'm sure you can tune into any of our streams or comment section and bring that positivity in those questions, and we'll be sure to make more content to cover that. I think new player guides are definitely something that, especially these gentlemen here, work tirelessly to obviously, they're some of the best, honestly, on the controller guides, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's all I'd want to really take the floor and say. And thank to Brian and Chris for being massive members of this community that, whilst some would say are all sorts of nasty things, I value them, and I think that they are definitely people to take as inspiration. And yeah, they should be included in more things, especially arbitrary lists, including giveaways in the future. Let's hope.
We'll see. It was a great thing, and I think hopefully from a learning perspective, that just with Square Enix, the thing I always see is they do something and they learn from it, and then it gets better. With every expansion, with every fan fest, they kind of figure it out and then go from there. Chris, floor's yours, man.
I mean, it's an exciting time to be in 14. We just wrapped up the Rising event. And we are about to prepare to go into the Final Fantasy XV crossover event, which I believe Meoni has already put a guide out on. So that will launch on the 13th, and then on the 18th or 17th, depending on where you live in the world, we'll have the live letter. That'll be live translated for anybody that wants to go watch that live. That does also mean, by extension, they're going to have to say everything twice, once in Japanese and once in English. So it'll be 4+ hours long. They'll be long. And that will get us the last of the big information, big reveal until it gets closer, with the exception of the media tour, which we really don't know much about. The way it worked last time is it was held physically. This time we know it's digital. Is they gave access to a variety of things, from outlets like Kotaku to YouTubers, just a gamut of, it was a really widespread. It didn't catch everybody, but Reddit got a presence, and there were some creators not traditionally known for 14 that were able to be invited to the North American one, and they were given access to the game and then given a brief window to all work on their content, and it all released on the same day. I think last time it was to put it in perspective as far as how far behind we are on timeline, I think last time the embargo date was June 29th. So just putting in perspective how different of a time of year it was for an expansion launch this time. And then that historically is about a month out from the expansion. So that's timed about right. And then we have one more live letter. They're saying in November. Live letters traditionally are about 2 weeks before content drops. And so with content dropping 19th, 23rd, of course, you're going to pre-order. That puts us beginning in November. So it's a great time to be in 14. That's just a brief rundown for anybody staying this long. That's well, what's next? And all of that to say means the very next action item is to get your 4-seater car if you don't have it. So go watch Meoni's videos on the fashion guide. Mm-hmm. Do your fashion guide anytime between Friday and Tuesday reset. Do your challenge log. Go watch the guide. Have your 200,000 MGP ready, and then watch his guide on that event. It's a fun little event. I think do you have to be level 50 to
yes.
a praetorium component,
or
something like that. So you have to be level 50. So if you're not, get on that, because we don't know if this is
our
coming
advice
back
is always at least
soon.
get to level 50. At least
you need to be level 50 and have completed the Ultimate Weapon storyline. The Ultimate Weapon. Sorry, that's the name of the quest, isn't it?
So that's it. That's my big PSA for anybody that stayed this long and it's okay, what's my next action item?